Tonight on WVUA News at 6, a mother is shot in front of her children. Find out why her husband is now facing charges for her death.
And those soda drinks we all love for their caffeine may not be adding pounds, but they can increase your waistline. We'll show you the magic number that the experts say are also making them dangerous to your health.
Plus, we'll show you where the Crimson Tide landed in this week's BCS rankings and how the defense landed them there. WVUA News at 6 is next.
Good evening, I'm Mary Beth Harrison.
And I'm Clara, Beth. Police are trying to find out who killed a woman and left her in a Northport trailer park. Northport police found the victim's body laying on the ground between two trailers at Green Village during the late hours of Saturday night. Authorities identified her as 21-year-old Chastity Michelle Helton. Captain Lloyd Baker of Tuscaloosa Metro Homicide told us witnesses reported that Helton went behind the trailer with two individuals when the shots were heard. If you have any information that can aid authorities in this investigation, call Tuscaloosa County Sheriff's Office at 205-752-0616.
Meanwhile, another woman was shot and killed in Tuscaloosa County this weekend, this time by her husband. It happened in Vance around 3 this morning on Wallace Chapel Lane. Captain Baker told us 25-year-old Matthew Whiteman shot and killed his wife, 25-year-old Allison Whiteman, with a hunting rifle. Whiteman told authorities he was preparing a pair of rifles to go target shooting and accidentally shot his wife while she was lying in her bed. Then later, Whiteman changed his story and told authorities he dry-fired one of the rifles, pointed the second at his wife, and pulled the trigger. According to Baker, Whiteman told authorities he was playing around and didn't realize it was loaded. He's charged with manslaughter and being held in the Tuscaloosa County Jail on $30,000 bond.
An update on the BP oil spill. The claims offices are set to close tomorrow on Alabama's Gulf Coast. More than $5.8 billion in claims have been paid out since the oil spill in April of 2010. The U.S. Coast Guard has agreed to end BP's cleanup responsibility for all but a small portion of the Gulf Coast. The plan to restore the Gulf Coast includes planting new vegetation and adding new sand beaches.
On your health watch, a new reason to lay off those sugary drinks. A new study says the drinks can expand your waistline without making you weigh more, and doctors say that can be dangerous to a woman's health. Researchers looked at data on more than 4,000 people, middle-aged and older. They compared those who drank 2 or more sugary drinks a day to people who drank 1 or less. They found women who drank at least 2 had increasing waist sizes and were nearly 4 times more likely to develop fats in the blood. Researchers did not, however, see the same trend in men.
What better way to prevent cardiovascular disease than by starting with our children? New guidelines recommend children between 9 and 11 years old should be tested for high cholesterol, regardless of family history. Researchers say they want to fight cardiovascular disease before it starts. The new recommendations also say that people should be retested between the ages of 17 and 21. Old guidelines only screen children who had a family history of high cholesterol and heart disease. The panel also suggests pediatricians use a type of test that doesn't require the kids to fast.
Saturday night in Starkville, the Tide defense once again proved why it leads the nation in every major defensive category. Bama held the Bulldogs to 131 total yards of offense, the lowest total in the Dan Mullen era at Mississippi State. That included only 12 yards rushing and 119 yards passing. The Bulldogs converted only 3 of 16 third down conversions, and the Tide also had a key stand late in the second quarter when Mississippi State had it first and goal at the 4, down 7-0. The Bulldogs ended up missing a 29-yard field goal. After the game, Nick Saban said he was pleased about how his defense was able to contain both Bulldog quarterbacks. The BCS standings this week are number 1, LSU, number 2, Oklahoma State. The Crimson Tide comes in at 3, Oregon at 4, and Oklahoma at 5.
Saturday, between the hedges in Athens, Auburn and Georgia were tied at 7, and then the Tigers surrendered 38 unanswered points and got whipped 45-7 for their worst loss in the rivalry since 1946. Georgia outgained Auburn 528 to 195 yards in total offense, while having a time of possession advantage of 40 minutes to 19. Auburn converted on only 3 of 11 third down conversions. Gene Chizik says the performance was a total team loss. Tony Stewart came to Phoenix 3 points behind Carl Edwards in the next-to-last race of the Sprint Cup chase And after the dust had settled, Stewart is still 3 points behind after finishing third behind Edwards, who was second. Oh, and if you must know, Casey Kane ended a 2-year racing drought by winning the Cobalt Tools 500. Stewart and Edwards will decide the championship next Sunday at Homestead Miami Speedway. Straight ahead on WVUA News at 6, meteorologist Richard Scott will join us for a look ahead at the forecast for the home game weekend.
And when it comes to the scandal at Penn State, the story just keeps unfolding. Find out the latest on who is in hot water because of the accusations against Jerry Sandusky.
And the Crimson Tide men added their second win this season on the hard court. See who is already standing out as a team leader. Those stories and more when WVUA News at 6 continues.